Welcome to the Asian Dating Podcast. I'm your host, May Bugenhagen. I am the founder of Two Asian Matchmakers, which is a boutique matchmaking company that started in Los Angeles, California in 2009. And I've been doing this for 15 years now. And I met the guest who's coming on the show in a little bit, Julia. I met her probably 12 years ago or something. I mean, I've known her for a long time, and she also has been in matchmaking since 2009. So Something More in Austin is where she's located. Was started in 2009, so over 14 years of experience. It's become the premier matchmaking service in Austin. The matchmaking business was founded by Julia McCurley with a vision to bring singles together and help them build a loving, lasting relationship together. Welcome to the show, Julia. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, May. This has been a long time coming in the works.
I know. I know you also wrote a book, right? You wrote a book. I forgot what year that was, and I'll put that information in the show notes as well. So today is going to be a little different format. I really don't have an agenda with Julia, except about 2 weeks ago, I posted this question on my social media on Facebook, and I asked my audience, what are things not to say or ask on a first date? Now, before we jump into all these random comments and to talk about it, Julia, in your 14 years of experience, what would you say are some things that you really shouldn't talk about or ask on a first date because it can really spiral downhill? Like, based on your experience, what are some of the key stuff before we jump into the comments?
Sure. Well, the obvious one is do not talk about your exes, right? And then also, you shouldn't ask the person, why are you still single? Like, it's like, duh, there's many reasons. I haven't met the right person. I'm glad I'm single. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here with you. So, and then like, what happened in your past relationship? Like, I don't understand why that is relevant to your new relationship or the date. It's like, there's a myriad of reasons. It could have been somebody cheated, wasn't ready to commit, a deal breaker, this and that. Like, it's not some big mystery. It's probably like one of 5 things that everybody breaks up over.
So let's say someone did cheat on you and a guy asked you, why did you guys break up? How would you go about bringing that up? Or what would you say that is kind of neutral, that won't kind of start the date off on the wrong foot?
See, I think what I'm hearing you say is like, you don't want to sound like you're hiding something or diverting the question. But then I think there's a way to say that where you can just go, gosh, I can tell you all about it once we get further down the road. But right now, I'd really just rather focus on getting to know you. You don't want to hear about that old stuff.
Right.
I just kind of maybe laugh it off a bit.
Okay. So is it okay to just say something like, gosh, you know what? We had a good 2-year run, but it just ended up that we're obviously not together. We weren't right for each other. But I don't want to talk about my ex. Let's talk about you, Julia. Like, I'll tell you about that later on, like that.
You could do it that way. But then even saying like 2 years, then your mind's like, well, wait a minute. Why did it last long? Like, I'm just trying to get people just 100% focused on the person they're there with.
So don't even mention how long. Just say,
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I would just say, oh, that's in the past. Happy to tell you more later, but let's make the most of our time together.
Do you believe that if two people are out on a date, if one person says all these bad things about their ex or all these good things about their ex, that they're actually not over their ex?
Absolutely. They're acting still bitter, or if they're acting like, yeah, things are great, it's like irrelevant.
Yeah.
And that just changes the whole tone of the date when you're talking about previous romantic relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a big believer in like, focus on the here and now, focus on the present. As you say, like, be present,
Yeah. Okay.
You may never see this person again. And if you don't focus on creating, that attraction or that spark, then you've lost the chance.
What do you think about people that ask, oh, what do you do for a living? Is that like something you shouldn't ask on a first date? Like, are there more important things to talk about to get to know them versus focusing on their occupation?
That's a good point. I mean, I do have, I feel like once you get on the work topic, it can just stay on there. It's hard to change the subject. So I kind of suggesting something like, oh, I'm in the legal field, but hey, I'm off the clock. We can talk about that more again. And you can joke, it's like, hey, did you bring your resume? Let's compare. Just kidding. But like I have this woman who's really successful, but she just got hung up on like, well, I have my MBA and I'm the vice president. I'm so happy we made our quarterly numbers. And the guy's just like zoning out. It's like, oh, I want to work with this person. Here's what it is. I want to get paid by this person, but not laid by this person. Yeah. So I finally told her, just pretend like you're not working. Either you're unemployed or retired. Like, just don't even mention that stuff. You already know you have your MBA. You already know you're vice president. So why does it matter? Like, you don't have to prove yourself anymore. It's okay. And just focus on like,
yeah. I feel like men don't even care what the education level of
they
women
don't.
are, nor do they care about their titles, right? Like
Nope.
a guy does not care about how much money you make. Like that is totally not even important to him. He just
It isn't. And then they think,
know,
oh, they're going to be competing with me, or she's not going to be available. She's kind of trying to make partner, at the law firm, or all she'll do is talk about work. And I've already been with somebody like that. And they start like future tripping, like borrowing trouble. Like, I don't want to get into that again where I'm second fiddle
so
to her.
what are your advice for women who are so busy that are trying to make partner or has so much of their social life built in on weekends and after hours, happy hours, and meeting up with their friends? Like, should they not tell a guy all those things that keeps them so busy where the men thinks, oh gosh, I don't even think she has time for me? Like,
Here's the thing. There's single May and there's relationship May. Single May, yes, she's got plans. She doesn't want to be sitting around. She's going out and doing things. But relationship May, maybe she doesn't need to have weekly, happy hour with the girls, or maybe she doesn't need to do yoga 3 times a week. So I think sometimes like if we want somebody fun, exciting, we try to present ourselves as fun, as exciting, but that doesn't mean we won't make adjustments for the person. And I don't think anybody that says they're too busy, it's like, listen, you have to eat, don't you? Can't we just go to lunch?
yeah.
Yeah. And so I've said this for years. There's nobody coming to my office or maybe your office asking for a Harvard MBA that works 100 hours a week.
I know.
And when you say I'm available 2 weeks from tomorrow for a half an hour at Starbucks, I mean, first of all, it's probably a lie. And second of all, then you're never going to get a relationship. How come these people that are CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies have time to answer the phone, have time to return the text, have time to make, take you out for dinner? Like, why is your life as a digital content creator so busy? No offense to digital content creators.
It drives me nuts when I'm trying to set up a
Yes.
with a client and she says, oh, I'll be available 2 weeks from today.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Like, you aren't even making dating a priority. Like, that automatically turns me off. Imagine if she was talking to the guy directly, and that would turn him off too. He'll be like, next, who cares? Like, yeah, I'm not sure why women do that. Do you know?
I don't know. One thing that kind of makes me sad is like, okay, I've been a career woman. I've started my company. I've done this, done that, but I still know how to turn it off after hours. And I think that, I don't know if that's a skill or what, but I think women, yeah, we have to not show feminine side, flirt, nothing for whatever, 40 hours a week. But somehow you have to find that inner person that, is romantic, is sexy, is, has a softer side. And maybe you've lost it, but you've got to do something to make yourself bring out those feelings, because all that work talk is just brings out masculine energy.
Yeah.
And the men don't like that. And it makes me sad though. Like, I worked so hard to get my degree and this and that. And now, it's being held against me on dates. But I don't know the answer to that. I'm just talking about like biology and about men and women's roles, in relationships. And I don't think there's a lot of men that want to be bossed around by women. That's just how it is.
Well, it's kind of like when women go out on dates, we don't want the guy to be bragging about their work.
No.
To talk about how busy they are.
Yes.
About all these meetings that they have to go to or traveling to. It's the same thing. Like, men don't want to hear women talk about their work. Like, you
Well,
have
what
to
do you tell
find a
your
way.
clients? What do you tell your clients to get them off the work talk?
Well, you have to change the subject, kind of like
Yeah.
joke around and be like,
Yes.
oh gosh, Julia, I don't want to talk about work right now. I'm off the
Yeah.
clock. Kind of
Yeah.
like you said, and say, I'm here to learn about you. So what do you like to do on the weekends? Like, what's your most passionate thing to do
That's
on
a
the
good question. Okay, two of my favorite questions, I think, they tell you a lot about a person. Like, what's the worst job you've ever had?
Mm,
Like mine, I worked in a cannery for 3 hours in high school. But I had to wear like this apron, this hazmat suit. It was awful.
yeah.
But they paid a big salary. I'm like, oh, I'll just try it. No. And then, like, what's the worst car you've ever driven? It's kind of a fun one. Mine was a 1974 orange Datsun V210. Can you imagine that? I mean, yeah, I have a really nice car, but I mean, I think most of us have, like, quote unquote, paid our dues.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to look back on where we've come from. And even like, what's your most embarrassing moment? Or,
Yeah. I like that. What's your worst job you've ever had? I mean, my
yeah,
worst job was probably being a server when I was in college. And I liked being a server, but this restaurant was so slow that hardly anyone came in and
oh
I didn't get
no.
any tips. So that was my worst job. And my worst car was probably my Pontiac that was like a lemon. I mean, it had to go in the shop like almost every month. It was
Yeah,
so annoying. And it made me think, you know what? I'm never buying an American car again. Like it just made me think, no
yeah.
American cars.
See, these things I think people can bond over because all of us can relate to that.
Yeah.
And then it comes up with some funny story about it.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you laugh a little bit more and relax. And well, I'm not the only one that had to drive some junker in
Right.
high school or I don't know.
Yeah. Those are cute questions. I like them. It automatically, everyone has a story, right?
They
Everyone
do.
has had a horrible job or everyone's had a beat up car that they had or whatever.
Yes. So trying to find
Okay.
things you can relate on. I think
Okay.
it's always
Good.
good.
Okay, so some people made comments on my Facebook post. Things you should not ask. What's your
Yeah.
income? Do you have life insurance? How much?
No.
Don't talk about your ex or your kid's bio parent.
No.
Oh,
I
here's a good
recommend
one.
stay clear of kids' conversations.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you don't want to bring up pictures. Whatever you do, do not bring that phone out and show pictures.
Oh, I know. Not
That
even
wrecks the
pictures of
date.
your
You sit there
dog.
looking for the photo like for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
No,
it could
it's
be
in
awkward.
here.
It could be awkward. So, don't speak negatively about anyone and
Yes.
everyone, and especially including an ex.
Yes.
What about your thoughts on who did you vote for in the presidential elections? Do you have customers, clients that talk
No.
about politics? What are your thoughts on that?
I actually make all the clients sign the rules. And one of them is don't talk about politics or religion. Now, I screen for that. Like I had this guy kept asking, how do you feel about the Second Amendment? And I go, listen, for the 10th time, don't bring that up. I've already told you they believe in the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
You don't need to qualify that on your own. Okay. You can assume everybody matched with you. Believe in the Amendment. Okay. So why would you bring it up?
I think because he has some savvy way of judging people based on how they answer. Do you think
Maybe,
that's why
but
he keeps asking that question?
he just wants to confirm they're on the same page politically.
Right.
And so I'm trying to tell him, listen, I already screen and vet for that. Let's focus on the things that do create the romance. Like, what do you like to do? What's your dream vacation? What's on your bucket list? What's the craziest thing you ever did on a date? Mine was, I was on a date with one guy. He went to the bathroom and then I went to another guy and scheduled a date for later in the night. And then I told the first guy I wasn't feeling well. Isn't that horrible? I was bad.
That was bad.
My wild days.
What do you think of people who talk about marriage on their first date? Is that a sign of desperation, or what are your thoughts on that? Like, should they bring up that they do want to get married eventually, or that's something you already screened for, so you don't need to talk about that?
I think maybe a way to say it is like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Kind of that route.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can kind of find out whether something not so strong is like, well, do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? Blah, blah, blah. And then the other thing, like you said, is I would try to avoid it in general because we've already let them know what this person's relationship goals are. And that's the beauty of working with matchmaking professionals like us, is that we ask all the awkward questions up front. And so I think it should make the client feel more relaxed. Like they don't have to wonder, is this person dating a bunch of people? Are they really over their ex? Do they have time to date? Are they some, bleeding heart liberal and I'm like conservative, MAGA, whatever person?
Mm-hmm.
So that way you can just really focus, like I keep saying, on building the chemistry.
So, but what if you're dating online? So should you put that on your profile that you're marriage minded? If
I would,
you want? Yeah.
Because you have to vet the person yourself.
Mm-hmm.
God, I just had a thought about things not to say. What was it? Oh, we'll come back to me in a minute. But
okay. Going down my list.
Yeah.
Going down my list some more. Someone said, don't chew gum.
For sure. I met this woman yesterday. She said the guy she dated, this is so gross. He would put the gum on the plate when he's eating dinner, or sometimes he dropped it in the water glass, would drink the water and then get the gum back out.
Yeah, that's gross.
I'm like, doesn't gum lose its flavor after 5 minutes? Like, why do you want that old piece of gum? Just get a new piece of gum.
Yeah, true.
That's bad.
Perfumes and colognes. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do people still wear a lot of perfume and colognes nowadays?
Well, I really like a guy that smells good, and I myself love perfume. So I would say it's fine, but just do a little bit.
Okay.
Like imagine just a touch behind the ears or something. You don't want to spray and like douse yourself with Axe or whatever.
Do you need to talk to your women about don't dress too provocatively?
I haven't had so much of that, but I've had women that show up in their work clothes.
Oh, okay.
And so I always say, listen, bring a pair of like cute sandals, in high-heeled sandals to put on with like your sheath dress or whatever. Get some fun jewelry, but you don't want to be wearing like a matching jacket and a dress. But you can make just a plain dress look a little more fun, not just like an Ann Taylor plain whatever business suit thing. If you had to go straight from work to the date, you could do that.
I always tell women that they should actually bring a change of clothes and change if they have to in the bathroom or restroom of their office, because mentally you're like changing from one outfit to another, changing from one place to another. Like, I feel like they need that. They need
I agree.
Put on earrings and, like you said, a necklace to jazz up their outfits a little bit. But yeah,
there's a lot in all this first date stuff. Unfortunately, it is kind of like a job interview, a little bit. So, and everybody's looking for something that you're going to say wrong. And so that's where, like this just happened. So the guy was saying he's looking forward to building a house. And the woman said, oh, I'll never do that again. That's my ex and I did. That was awful, blah, blah, blah. And see, I don't think right there, done. They're not going to go on a second date. Or somebody that goes, I love traveling. I just got back from Paris. And then the woman's like, oh, wow, where did you stay? Well, I stayed at the Prince Louis II, it's 5-star, da, da, da. And then he's like, well, where did you stay? Oh, well, I was in college. I stayed at youth hostel. Like, let's not get into who has the most points on American Airlines either. Like travel comparing stories are bad, right?
Yeah, so many.
I had a guy just joke around about first class and points, but the woman got really offended. And I'm just like, listen, if you travel for business, points are your only saving grace. Business travel sucks. So he's like, at least I get to fly first class, but I do stay in like whatever Motel 6s. I don't know. He was just being sarcastic, but she took it the wrong way. So I think the sarcasm too is something you got to watch.
Yeah.
You got to watch the humor. Not everybody will understand your humor right away.
I also feel like when we're on dates, men and women, we should actually focus on not getting offended about something. Like, just find reasons to not get offended.
Excellent. Okay, here's a question. Yeah. So you're on a date and you figure out what you want to order. How do you feel if the man orders for you? Like, not picking your meal, but he goes, oh, the lady would like to have the filet mignon. Or are you on the other side? Well, listen, I want to order for myself. Like, do you care either way?
You mean I was the one that decided on the order already and he's just telling the server that?
Yes.
I would not get offended.
I've had women get offended. Like, I can order myself. And I'm just going, listen, or I've had ladies, I know it sound like trashing women, but Just telling all of us need to just take a chill pill.
Yeah.
The guy's excited. He can afford to pay for your valet. Just let him.
Yeah.
I know you can afford your own valet, but the guy wants to.
Yeah.
What is the big deal for us to just let go and like, oh, I can do this myself. I don't need somebody. It's like, where's that getting you?
Well, I think we need to remember to let the man be the man on the date.
Absolutely.
Like, why are we like judging him for just trying to do something nice? Like, that's the problem I have with women sometimes. It's like, are you just trying to find reasons to be
Yes.
offended about stuff? Because
What's the worst, like the worst date feedback you've ever had? Like the most ridiculous reason somebody wouldn't go out with somebody again?
oh my gosh, there's so many.
I've got 5, but you go
Okay,
first.
tell me yours. Tell me yours.
Okay. I'm like, how did it go? Well, first of all, he ordered the steak well done. I'm like, okay, what's wrong with that? Well, that is a crime. You know, a nice cut of beef. You should never order that well done. And she actually said, no, I will not see this man again over that. And so took a poll for a while. I'm like, how would you feel about that? And it was 50-50. There was a lot of people that said, yeah, that's a crime. I wouldn't go out with that person again. But then other people were like, what's the big deal? And I'm personally married to a well-done guy, but now he's medium rare. It took a while, but I converted him. And then the other one, okay, the man mispronounced a word or used the wrong word. And the 2 words are so similar. Mortified instead of petrified. I don't even know if I know the difference. Don't they both mean scared?
Who cares?
I don't know, but yeah. And I want to say, you know what? You're married to a professor who maybe is great at the English language, but you never lived in the same town your whole entire 5-year marriage. Yeah, you know how to pick men. Just like this guy has MBA, super smart, maybe got nervous. I don't know, but that's a bad reason to write somebody off.
What else? What are the other ones you have?
Let me think. Okay, the guy whistled. Like the song was playing, just whistled a couple bars during dinner, and she thought that was really tacky.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wish I could whistle. That's not that big a deal. It wasn't like he whistled the whole song.
Who cares if he did? Like,
I don't know.
Is that going to make him a great father or good husband? Like,
yes.
Ever. Like, this is what I mean. This is what I mean, that sometimes women just find reasons to not say yes to a second date. And that's what drives me nuts. Sometimes I feel like, wait, as matchmakers, is it my fault for asking them about their date feedback? Because then now they're going to pick apart the date. So sometimes when 2 people want to see each other again, I don't even contact them, because why draw attention to the negative stuff, So I just let it go. So yeah.
So you don't always give the date feedback to the person?
If they like each other and they're going on a second date, I just buzz off. Yeah. If they
once they both want to see each other and do the phone number thing.
Yeah.
Another one I heard from a guy. This is from a man. He was upset because she asked for another chair to put her purse on. And so he felt like he's on a date with 3 people, like 2 people, like with whoever, Brittany and her Louis Vuitton.
Right.
But I'm thinking maybe that was a bucket list to get a Louis. She doesn't want to put it on the ground. I don't know. I didn't think it was that big a deal.
Actually, I've had some women order lobster on a date, on dates before. And I'm like, wait, would you order lobster on your own with, going
because they want to have the guy like stick him for the bill for the expensive meal.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to my list here, it says, even if the guy is very wealthy, don't order the most expensive things on the menu unless he does the ordering. Unless he says, hey, this place has great lobster. Would you like one? Like, that's different. Okay,
what about this? What about the woman, here we go again, women, that orders a side salad for her entree?
Just salad for her entree?
Just a side salad for the entree.
Nothing wrong with that. Is she ordering an appetizer too?
No, nothing else.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That's fine. I mean, again, maybe she didn't plan on, being so hungry, or she already had a late lunch at work.
That's bad. So. She knows she has this dinner. She should prepare. Have an earlier lunch. And then what about the person that gets a doggy bag? What do you feel about that?
I'm okay with that if it's obvious that there's food left over and you don't want to waste it. I mean, I don't think anything's wrong with that because if you are in a relationship, you might go out somewhere and get a doggy bag, right?
That's in a relationship. I'm talking about first dates.
Yeah, it can be kind of weird. I
I
guess
think
it
it's
just
tacky.
depends. It
What
really
about somebody
depends.
that brings their own food on the date? This is real. This really happened.
That is weird if
He
they have
brought his own food because he's
dietary.
like eating clean, getting ready for a competition or something.
Yeah, that's weird. Then he shouldn't be going on the date. He should
Or maybe it was
just
her, one of
go for a
them.
walk or something.
And what about the person that brings, she doesn't like to waste any food back to the doggy bag, but she brought her own like glass container to put like she can't stand leaving food on the plate.
Yeah, that's weird. That's those things don't need, you don't need to add another dimension for people to find reasons to reject you, right? Like the
Yeah,
whole point of a first date is to get to a second date. The whole point of a second date is get to a third date. So the whole point of,
exactly. And that's what we do is give people tools
right,
that help them have first dates that lead to second dates.
right, right.
And there's some things you just can't say. Like one question I always don't like is, what's your authentic self? Like, how do you answer that?
Yeah,
Like, what's your authentic self, May?
my authentic self is I'm funny. I like to exercise. I like to make money. I like to
Okay.
be happy. I like to meditate. I love to read.
Okay, May, then what's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, my guilty pleasure is playing poker. I love playing
Oh,
poker.
really?
Yeah, I
Okay, what
love.
if I said my authentic self is eating Cheez-Its with a glass of Chardonnay, watching a Lifetime movie? I love doing that every Friday night.
Oh, I do like Lifetime movies, but I
But
don't
wouldn't you
have.
think on a date the guy be like, "What? This girl's a couch potato. Doesn't she do anything?" Or if I said,
Right.
"I never miss an episode of The Real Housewives," you
Yeah.
can't say that stuff.
Right. I mean, again, it's you got to be on your best behavior. And it's
Yes.
great for us to talk about this stuff because hopefully people who are listening are thinking, gosh, what is my guilty pleasure? What can I say that's not going to be a total turnoff or for him to
Yes.
take it the wrong way? So,
There's,
yeah,
like I said, it's a job interview, and that's what I mean. Like, I'm not telling people to not be themselves. I'm just saying, like, put your best foot forward,
yeah,
increase your chances of the person getting excited about you. And this is something I think your listeners should really take this seriously. When you're trying to figure out if you want to see the person again, even if you're on the fence about attraction, I think a great question is, am I curious about this person? Do I,
yes,
do I feel like I want to get to know them more? If the answer is yes, then go on the second date because I believe that chemistry builds. I've seen it happen over and over again. It doesn't have to be like, lust and you want to rip his
right.
clothes off on the first day. That doesn't mean it can't develop.
That's true.
Think about people that work together for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, women fall in love with their ears and men fall in love with their eyes.
Love that. The sense of humor goes such a long way. And
Yeah.
I look around and I see people, I'm like, what on earth is she seeing that guy? Or why is that supermodel with this nerd? Or why is that really hot guy with like kind of a frumpier woman? I
He's
mean,
funny. He's probably
it
funny.
is.
Yeah, I believe humor can go a long way. And I also believe that if you don't know what your sense of humor is, that you should uh, investigate and research and look up some comedians and just watch these comedians talk in these clips and these jokes, and hopefully it'll rub off on you. And a good way to ask it, what kind of sense of humor someone has is what kind of shows do they watch? Like what kind of
For
funny shows
sure.
do they
Or
watch to
just even
see?
who's your favorite comedian? Is it Dave
Yeah.
Chappelle or is it
Who's
Jim
your favorite
Gaffigan?
comedian?
I know it's Jim, but I'm old school. I love like David Spade, Adam Sandler, like a lot of the SNL guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I just heard this really funny comedian the other day. He said he wished that jocks still ruled the world. Remember, it used to be like the big, strong guys were in charge, and now the nerdy guys are.
Yeah.
All the nerdy guys do is make us feel stupid. Like these apps trying to figure everything out. You know what I mean? Like I just spent 20 minutes trying to figure out how to do the two-step verification on Google. It's like, why? Why can't I just log in?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when the jocks were, it's like, okay, well, he's just in better shape than me. That's the only thing that I'm worse at than him. But the nerds, it's like everything. I suck
Uh,
at everything.
Speaking of apps, someone else wrote, keep your phone shut off or in your purse, not on the table, unless you're a doctor on call. Yeah, you should the best thing to do is put your phone on silent or vibrate and keep it in your purse or away. Because nothing makes you feel worse than someone who checks their phone while you're on the date. They might pick up the call. You're like, what the heck? Like,
or
priorities.
They go to the bathroom and they're gone for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
They're texting or doing something in there.
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's not good.
Yeah. Oh, what about a clean car? Because that's something I think is important.
Well, do you advise your dates to pick up the woman?
No, but he might walk her to the car and see it filled with fast food wrappers and crap, or he drives a black car and it's filthy, covered in dust.
That's true.
Yeah, or he's got, there's so much about cars, like bumper stickers all over it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, or some really old car. I did tell this one guy to get a new car. I mean, he worked for Tesla making $500,000 a year and he's driving like a 20-year-old Honda.
Well, maybe he's trying to, make sure all his debt's paid off and he had money put away to buy a house. Like,
it's just cheap and it just doesn't look good. Can't you?
Well, being cheap is another thing. That's total no. Like, women just don't like men who are cheap. So if you're a guy out there listening and you're cheap, like hopefully you could do stuff to change that.
Yes. I had a cheapskate. He wanted to take all his dates to actually it was a bar that you bring your dog to, like an outdoor thing.
Did they both have dogs and they're bringing their dog?
No, but he just want to go there because you can have a beer and sit outside and watch your dog. I'm like, that's like a $20 date. Can't you do a little bit better?
I know sometimes these people who pay so much for a matchmaking investment and then they blow it. They just want to take her for like frozen yogurt or something. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to impress her. Not to say everyone needs, fancy dinner dates, but it could be a walk. It could be going to the dog park if both parties have a dog, like, or a hike or something. Like,
you do different first date styles, it sounds like.
I leave it up to them. Like, I find out what their cuisines, what they like, and where they're located, what time of the day they're going. So all that matters. But someone wrote something on here that was really interesting. Don't mention anything you found out through Google before he or she have a chance to tell you about it.
Yes.
What happened to your dates?
Well, I had this woman didn't want to go out with a man anymore after she found out he looked at her LinkedIn profile. And she's like, why is he looking at that? And I'm thinking, you know what? If you don't want people looking up your internet footprint, then don't be on social media. Okay. Why is that a reason not to go out with a man just because he looked at your LinkedIn profile? Like, that's a dumb reason.
Yeah. I agree. Don't accidentally still refer to your ex as your spouse.
Oh, God, yes.
Don't take your date out on a place where you took your former spouse.
Yes. Don't go to places that you're a regular at. Yeah. Because it's like there's 3 people on the date. Like, the servers can be like, oh, how's it going? How are the kids? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Especially like a country club thing. Don't do that where you're, regular. No. And one time this man told me, because I did take 2 different women to this restaurant. Well, it's the same server. And the server said, oh, yeah. What's going on with your friend that you were here with a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, right.
God,
right.
Since girls like, what? You were here on another date 2 weeks ago? Awkward.
I also like to advise my widows or widowers to not go to the same place that they used to go with their spouse because it brings back bad memories. And
absolutely.
This is your chance to create new memories with somebody.
Yes,
so
that's
just
great advice.
It's good to go to someplace new.
Do you ever ask them, like, have you put down the pictures? Have you cleaned out the closet? Have you done those things?
Yeah.
I do that because sometimes, like, if the pictures are still over their house and after 5 years, his closets, all the clothes are still there, then I don't think they're ready to date. And that's fine. But like other people process things different, but
yeah, that's a deeper conversation. When ordering food, ask if you want to share a meal. Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Okay, this is kind of one thing I know. I always tell people, and tell me if you agree, unless they bring you out a raw steak, just deal with it, okay? I mean, if you said you're allergic to shrimp, yeah, don't order shrimp or don't go to a seafood restaurant. But for the most part, I say don't complain about anything. That's one rule.
Okay.
Two, I would err on the side that the person's not a food sharer
Yeah.
because not everybody is. And I know it's like a trend, but some people don't want it. Like I just met you. I don't want to split something, or I don't want my fork touching the meat that you just put your fork in. I don't know. Some people are
Yeah.
just weird about stuff like that.
Yeah. Cooties, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. What else? What
Drinking.
else?
Don't get drunk.
Don't get drunk. Just have one drink
Or
as a
don't drink before the date, or don't go from a happy hour to a date.
okay.
Like the other person can tell, like I can smell alcohol in your breath and you're acting buzzed.
Yeah.
Why, And then also I don't think you should have plans right after the date. Like let's say you had a dinner date at 6, the concert starts at 8. Well, then you're going to be going, oh, I gotta go. I gotta be at whatever, Alamo, whatever concert hall at 8 o'clock. The other person's like, wait, I canceled out everything and planned my whole evening in case we maybe want to go grab an after dinner drink. So I think it's important not to have multiple plans in one night.
Good advice. I agree. I agree. What are your thoughts on someone who is just separated or legally separated? Should they be dating? How would your clients feel about that?
I think no, they should not be dating. I feel like people are really sensitive about that,
Yeah.
about the person not being legally available. And what if they get back together with their spouse, or what if they're on the rebound? I mean, all those, it's like, I would stay clear of matching people that aren't fully divorced.
Yeah.
I mean, I met somebody yesterday, hasn't lived with her husband in 6 years, but something about when I'm divorced, when it's finalized, I think that's when you can really like, okay, it's over. But like they're still trying to sell the house together,
Yeah.
doing this, doing that. There's a lot of involvement with her soon to be
Yeah.
ex.
Okay. We covered a lot. Thank you, Julia, for joining me
Wait,
today.
we didn't talk about one thing.
Oh, what's that?
Red lipstick.
Oh, what about red lipstick? You don't want
I
women
don't
to
think women
wear
should be
red.
wearing the red lipstick
Okay. What
because what happens is the man is looking at you and thinking, oh my God, if I kiss her, I'm gonna get that smeared all over my face.
do guys think that?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
meme that shows this brighter lips and it says, I have an intense fear of clowns.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Um,
just don't think red lipstick is even that flattering on people. And on women, older women, it make you look really old.
yeah.
Younger girls, it just looks uh not too trendy, but it's like we're not all Taylor Swift. Like she always
Yeah.
wears red lipstick. So I
Okay.
think
So there's
beware of that.
better shades of lipstick, and I want men to comment on this video if red lipstick is a turnoff for them. So,
Yes.
okay.
And the guys with the hats, no baseball hats, no cargo shorts, no flip-flops, no ripped up jeans.
Yeah.
I've got a whole list of deal breakers or things women don't like graphic t-shirts or like ethnic print shirt or like sunglasses or like double denim. I have this long list.
I feel like
Licking your fingers on a
should-
date. Don't do that. Like licking your
people,
fingers.
yeah. People should just put some effort into the way they dress on a first
Yes.
date. You never know. I mean, it just shows that you want to date, you want to take this seriously, and that you care, because it's hard to get a first date nowadays. You're probably
sure
going
it
through
is.
11 hours on online before you find
And
one
apps.
person that would
Absolutely.
agree to go out with you. So if you do go out, make it count, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
ladies, don't write off every guy that has a picture of himself holding a fish. Okay. Those guys are proud of those fish. And men, don't write off every woman that has a nice purse. It does not mean she's high maintenance.
Right.
Maybe that was her bucket list. Like I got a Louis when I was 40. I actually don't even really like that thing, but that was like, okay, I've arrived. I want to get a fancy purse.
Yeah.
Or like cars, that guy in a pickup truck, he could be some really successful attorney, but he's, like carries a Texan or, we all, I think, are stereotyping people way too much.
The bottom line is just to give people a chance. You just never
Absolutely.
know. I mean, I love when my clients go out on the fourth and fifth date, because when they're on their fifth or sixth date, they're ready to be exclusive. And
Exactly.
the chances of them getting into a relationship or getting married is very high. So ladies, just try to get to the fifth or sixth date. Yeah.
So what do you think about how many dates should a person give to the person? Like, okay, I have this curiosity about May. So I have a second date.
Well, what you said,
And a third date, or should I just keep going? Like, when
if
do
you're
I
still
say no?
curious about them, then go
Yeah.
out. I love the 3-date
Me
rule,
too.
where just give someone a chance, because how can you tell if he's going to be a great father to your kids, great husband to you in like 90 minutes? You don't know. So just give him 3 dates. Like, is it going to
We haven't even talked about kissing.
Yeah. Is it going to kill you to give him a chance just to, it's your time. I get it.
Do you think if somebody's a bad kisser, do you think you should show them how to be a better kisser, or do you think like they won't learn?
You can show someone how to be a better kisser, because if you were a bad kisser, someone can show you how to be a good kisser too, right?
So the one thing I know that's not good for kissing is a darting tongue. Like
Right.
3 guys told me that. They're like, she was a bad kisser. And I'm like, well, what is a bad kisser?
Yeah.
And they
And
all
that's what they
said the
said.
darting tongue.
Okay.
So don't do that.
ladies, don't do the darting tongue. Like,
Whatever.
be more sensual and be
Yeah.
more.
Like, whatever. I don't know. But
Okay.
kissing is
We'll
funny.
have to have part 2 of this podcast, but Julia McCurley, thank you so much. And I will put all of your information in there. And if there's a single guy, single girl out there in Austin or Texas, please contact Julia. She's been a matchmaker for 14 years and has enjoyed years and years and years of success. I mean, I've even sent her clients before
You
she
have.
got married.
Wonder what happened to that
We
guy,
didn't even talk
Sam.
about that, but
Yeah.
thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you for having me.
And ladies out there, I would love for you to fill out a profile with me at 2asianmatchmakers.com. Love to get in touch with you. And men, if you need help finding an Asian partner, I'd be happy to help you. Please subscribe, like the channel, make comments. If you agree or disagree with the red lipstick comment, please.
Yes, say
it
your
down
like
there.
if anybody disagrees with me, I want to know.
Yeah.
Because I have had people not agree with my suggestions.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you, like, I didn't make this stuff up, okay? This is setting over like 5,000 dates, okay? I
Right.
think you and I know like what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Julia. Have a great rest of your day. And I appreciate you doing the Asian Dating Podcast. Bye, everybody.